Hello and welcome to Inside Music, episode number 145. I'm your host, James Shotwell, and on this episode of the show, we have a guest that many of you have been requesting for months. My friend Eric Egan is the founding member and vocalist for the group Heart Attack Man, who hail from Cleveland, Ohio, and are currently signed to Triple Crown Records. In 2017, Heart Attack Man released their debut album, The Manson Family, and in 2019, they will follow it up with a new record entitled Fake Blood that is due to arrive in April. Eric and I have been interacting on Twitter for the last few months, and if you follow Holics or Holics Daily online, then you've no doubt seen my articles about the way he approaches marketing. It's a very personal and engaging way to sell a group, and most importantly, he's rarely selling anything at all. Eric has this unique personality that makes people want to know more about what he's doing, and more specifically what Heart Attack Man is doing, without having to come on to a camera or into a Twitter feed and say, here's my music, here's this thing you should buy, go buy this, and so on. Eric came on the show to tell me a little bit about Fake Blood, as well as his approach to marketing, and along the way we talk about a few other things as well, but the real takeaway here is that this is probably one of the nicest people we've ever had on the show. Eric is both hilarious and self-effacing and really everything that you could hope he could be. And if you've ever seen his videos or his content online, then that is pretty much the guy you're going to hear on this podcast. You can find Heart Attack Man online by going to Heart Attack Main on Twitter. That's Heart Attack Man with an E at the end. Or Heart Attack Mon on Instagram. That's Heart Attack Man, but instead of an A at the end, it's an O. And I guess I really don't know what else to say about this episode. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and it's something that, like I said, has been in the makings for a while now. I have had the great fortune to hear a little bit of Fake Blood, and it lives up to the expectations that people have placed upon the band. It also ushers in a new era for Heart Attack Man. The group's sound is somewhere in the middle of a whole bunch of different things. There are a few influences that kind of almost feel like early Weezer, but there's this grungy, tough, borderline chaotic sense to the whole proceedings that you really can't pin down. Songs explode out of nowhere only to reassemble before exploding all over again, and then other tracks run under 2 minutes in length, and some other songs feel like a ballad set to electric guitars. It's a whole lot, but somehow, through it all, Eric finds a way to bring it all together in a way that makes sense and flows beautifully. But like I said at the top of this podcast, we only spend a little bit of time talking about Fake Blood because most people will not be able to hear the album for several months. We do, however, discuss the rollout of the record, when singles are expected, when tour announcements are expected, and everything else you would hope to hear from a promotional podcast. Outside of that, and this is where it gets good, we spend a lot of time talking about authenticity. I only started listening to Heart Attack Man in November 2018 after seeing some of the band's posts on social media and really finding myself enjoying them. I had no idea who they were, what they sounded like, or anything like that, but I knew that the content they were creating was original and funny, and I just wanted to know more, which inevitably led me to seek out their music, which I also happen to love. I talked to Eric a little bit about that, and I've talked to him about it in the past. Heck, I've even written about it, and here we get into the nitty-gritty of how it all comes together. From what I can tell, through everything he does, Eric is trying to do nothing more than be himself. He's not following trends on social media. He's not following guides on marketing your band. He's not doing anything like jumping on bandwagons or regurgitating content in his own voice. All he's doing is being himself, and for whatever reason, that is connecting with a great amount of people. And I think if you speak to all popular artists, at least those that don't have a gigantic marketing machine behind them, those that find success in the DIY market do so because they're able to tap into something within themselves that we all relate to in some way. In the case of Heart Attack Man, that happens to be something that is brutally honest about struggles in life, but also very silly. There's a lot of really funny stuff that Eric does, and somehow he makes it all come together in a meaningful way that makes people want to know more, that makes people want to get to know him more, and that ultimately leads to more success for Heart Attack Man. Before we can get to all this, of course, I have to tell you a few quick things. First and foremost, this episode of Inside Music and all episodes of Inside Music are brought to you by Holics, the music industry's premier promotional distribution company. Now, what that means is that Holics works with record labels, management, publicists, and independent artists from all over the world to share new and unreleased music without fear of piracy. To learn how they do this, and to join the likes of Heart Attack Man, Blink-182, Chance the Rapper, Metallica, and thousands of other artists who use the service in their daily lives. Visit Haulix.com. That's HAULIX.com. If you visit the site and you sign up today, you'll gain a free 30-day trial. Cancel before the month is over and you won't be charged a dime. So once again, that's Haulix.com, HAULIX.com. I also want to encourage you to follow Haulix on Twitter. Their handle is @Haulix. One more time, HAULIX. There you can find updates on the show, as well as editorials and news related to the music industry. Finally, this episode of Inside Music and all episodes of the show are now available on our brand new YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and type in Inside Music or Music Biz 101. That's Biz with a Z, B-I-Z. And you will find every episode of the show, as well as exclusive video essays on a wide range of topics, including the marketing genius of Heart Attack Man. And that's a clip I'm really proud of. We take a look at some of the band's most popular social media posts and break down what makes them so successful. So again, go on YouTube, search Inside Music or Music Biz 101, and you'll get there. Last thing, the final thing, if I already said that once before, is that you check out Heart Attack Man. I don't care if you follow them online or if you stream their music. I would prefer you do both, but do one or the other because they're doing something really special right now, and I think you're going to want to be a part of this bandwagon because when Fake Blood comes out this April on Triple Crown Records, you're going to be late. You're going to be way too late to the party. So go out right now, find Heart Attack Man online, and engage with them. Listen to their music. Let their whole thing wash over you because it is wonderful and you're going to want to be a part of the party that is promoting this group. So check out Heart Attack Man. But right now, all I want you to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with Eric.
I'm sitting in front of my space heater right now. I'm really not trying to do anything. Really trying to avoid going outside.
Smart.
Yeah, really nothing going on.
You told me the other day that you're recording a video this week, and I hope you're not doing that outdoors in Cleveland.
No, we're doing it indoors in Cleveland, and I think it should warm up a little bit. It should warm up a little bit by this weekend, but yeah, we're doing that this weekend, and some of it I think we have like our practice space, and we're like sort of making use of that a little bit. And when we were there on Monday, we were having some problems actually with the heater, so hopefully that's like, I don't know, hopefully the building itself, like they get that fixed, and it's not like painfully cold.
That's good, man. And you're recording the video, making the video, I don't know, filming the video for the title track from Fake Blood, which is also the album opener, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
What made you choose that song?
I don't like really. It was kind of a toss-up between that and a couple other songs, and listening to that one, I was just like, I feel like this song just kind of seems like, I don't know, it just felt the most like a single, sort of like the lead single, I guess. And when we were talking about it, we were thinking, maybe we could have a song like from later on the album be the debut single or whatever, and then ultimately it just kind of boiled down to, we're like, let's just put our best foot forward and like put the song out that we feel like is, I don't know, just the one that we can all sort of mutually agree is the one that we all feel the most comfortable premiering first, and that was the one. So it just ended up also being the title track and the first song on the album.
Now, did the song title come first or the album title?
The album title.
So then you're writing the song and you're like, this, I guess obviously it uses the term Fake Blood in it, but did it feel like you were writing a song knowing full well like this is going to be the quote unquote title track? I know some bands try to avoid that altogether, and I think for how you market this record so far, it seems like the perfect thing for you to do because you kind of lean into the Fake Blood thing so hard.
Yeah, so this song I actually originally so I had the album title in mind, and I had like a couple different album titles I was working with before, but Fake Blood, everything that we've done, it's like I kind of like pour over things a couple times and really make sure I'm feeling what we got. But so I had the album title in mind, and I wrote the title track, but originally didn't. Uh, I didn't have a name for it, and it wasn't. Like I started writing the song, and then I was like, um, that was like purely sort of by circumstance that it ended up becoming the title track, because I actually started writing the beginnings of that song before I had decided on the album name. But then when I wrote the lyrics for it much later, I wrote the lyrics when I was in jury duty. Um, in that, like, I had an original chorus in mind and the lyrics for it, and I was like content with it. But then I was like, I want to mess around a little bit more and kind of see what else I can come up with. And in that, what these sort of ideas I was riffing off of the sort of fake blood imagery, and the idea of it kind of fit in perfectly with it. And I was like, oh, okay, this, is sort of the perfect vehicle for sort of introducing this image to the album. So it, just kind of fell into place of becoming the title track of the album. But it also, at that, it also wasn't like forced. Like I was like, oh, okay, I need to somehow cram this in there, make this the album, the title track. It just kind of fell into place.
It's always wonderful when stuff like that happens.
Yeah,
Now, do you guys have a release date figured out for this yet? Is it April, May, somewhere in there?
April 19th. Yes.
April 19th. That's coming up so soon. So you must be,
Yeah.
I guess, how soon until people out there in the world get a taste? Like, when are you actually going to drop Fake Blood? Do you know yet?
The the
Single.
the title track
Yeah.
is yeah. So that we're planning on early March, and then we're doing two singles. The first single would be early March. Follow up single would be early April, with the rest of the album coming out, mid April. And yeah, so early March for the first single.
Have you figured out what the second single is going to be yet?
Yeah, it's a song called Out for Blood. So the blood theme is still very present.
I've had I'm probably one of the few people that have actually heard some of the record, and both those
Right,
songs
right.
rip. I love it. I
Thank you.
If I had to guess, I would have guessed Alfred Blood, or the one that I keep coming back to is I want to make sure I get the title right. Is it Cut My
Yeah.
Losses? Is that it?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that song that perfectly hits like this weird, almost Weezer meets punk vibe. I don't know. There's something about it that I just keep coming back to. I like the way that it explodes and kind of builds and then comes back inside and explodes once again. If that
Yeah,
makes
thank
sense.
you. Yeah, no, definitely. That song was actually the first song that fully came together on the album. Like that was the first song that I wrote, and the lyrics just sort of came out right away. And I was like, okay, well, this is a good sort of starting point to have, and just kind of built off that. But yeah, that one I was like, I'm really excited on that one, but I never actually really thought of it. And I never thought of it really as a single. And some of our friends that we've shown the album to, like, I've had a couple other people tell me that they really like that song as well and think that it could be a single. I was like, really? Like, I hadn't thought about it like that, but I'm glad that you know that that song stands out maybe a little more than I had thought. 'Cause, I mean, it's like I'm very happy with everything on the album, but like obviously, naturally, with any album, even if it's banger after banger, it's like there's going to be songs that people gravitate to more. So it's like curious to see where what those tracks end up being.
And I think with this record, based on what I've heard, there's also you have this way about writing songs, both lyrically and from a music standpoint, that there are even just elements of tracks that I think people will kind of gravitate towards. Like the thing that they'll talk about will be that one moment in that song. Like there's a track on the album that's like under 2 minutes long, and it ends in a very heavy way. And I think
Oh yeah, yeah,
that heavy moment at the end there is going to be something that people
yeah.
are like
Low
trying to
hang,
describe.
yeah, low hanging fruit.
Yeah, it made me giggle the first time, and and then the second or third time, I was just like bobbing my head and I was like, "This is kind of sick. I don't know why it's here, but it's great."
Yeah, that song I was like, um, I guess not to like delve too far into just being commentary on
Exactly. Don't want
every
to go that far.
track on the album, but that song was actually we when we recorded, we originally were just going to do 10 songs, and then we were like really really sort of just like on top of everything and very well rehearsed, and so we had a lot of extra time. Like we were almost done. We had two and a half weeks booked to record this album, and by the end of like the first week, getting into the second week, we were already pretty close to being done. So we were like, well, shit, we're gonna have all kinds of extra time. Maybe we could jam like a new song, like another song or something, and see what we can come up with. And that song was actually the um, sort of the product of that, because like I had started just messing around with that chord progression at the beginning of recording, and everything about the song, it's like they weren't like ideas that we were riffing on before going to record. It was like all purely there in the studio and very spontaneous. And we just all like I was playing with the chord progression one day and like the lead at the beginning, and the guys were like, what is that? I was like, I don't know. Like they're like, we should just work on that. I was like, yeah. And so we were just thinking, we jammed that out one day, and then we decided that we wanted to just be really short and have that very abrupt, heavy ending. But yeah, we finished it, and initially we were thinking like, maybe we can like sit on this song and maybe we release it down the line as a single or something. But then we were all so excited on it, and we're like, no, we should put this on the album, and we should put it towards the beginning, because we all just felt that strongly about it, and we think that it was really that last thing that the album really needed, like the sort of very upbeat, short, spontaneous song that, it's like with our album, The Manson Family, that's how our song Surrounded by Morons was. It wasn't as last minute, like in the studio, but we wrote that song like right before we went to record the album, versus every other song on the album, which had been done for like months before.
I follow, and I definitely don't want to give too much commentary. A, because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a handful of people will have heard the record by the time this is out, and most of them probably don't
yeah.
listen to the podcast. But I also
It's
get
all good.
nervous because in my head, when you and I started tweeting back and forth to each other, in my head, I love that video you made of you interviewing yourself, and in my head, I was like, I
Oh
hate
yeah.
interviews like this so much, and I can't talk to him and give him this interview.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Like that's the thing. I don't know. I don't ever want to come off like, you know, like people can't approach me or talk to me like about, just everyday stuff with that, about being in a band and whatnot. But it's like when you see, like, I feel like it's just when music journalism just devolves into that, where it's just that over and over again. It's just like these stock questions and stock, it's like, okay, here's this same questionnaire with this band answering it this time. It's like, I think, you got to have like your foundational sort of questions that everyone's wondering, like updates on the album, like what's you know, information that people want to know about the album and whatever material a band or an artist may be working on. But, you know, got to get more creative in this day and age.
Absolutely, and I've told this story before on the podcast, but I remember having a conversation with Shane from Silverstein years ago, where he was like having the same complaint because he said like every other interview is somebody that's like, so you picked up a guitar and then what? Like it starts with
Yeah.
like, so tell me the entire story of the band. I have done no research and I only know your name.
Yeah, exactly. Like, please fill in the blanks for me.
Yes, here's the ad libs
Yeah.
version of an interview. And back when I used to do, back when Warped Tour was a thing, and you would come into the press room in the morning, and they would be like, "Here are all the bands that are coming in today. Who do you want to interview?" And they would try to push you on bands that maybe you didn't come in to talk to, and you'd end up just being like, "All right, well, I guess I'm spending 10 minutes talking to Less Than Jake, and I never planned on that, and I haven't listened to Less Than Jake, but let me go ahead and ask them, the most boilerplate of questions."
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But I really wanted to talk to you about how you do the marketing for the band, and obviously,
Yeah,
I
totally.
have probably put. I think I'm the second person who puts the second most thought into how you market your band next to you yourself, because I have talked about it so
Yeah,
much in recent weeks. But it fascinates
yeah.
me. So
No, I really appreciate that. Like, it means a lot.
well, it's something that obviously I'm kind of immersed in the world as well, and I follow people on Twitter all the time. But you're the first artist I can remember discovering solely because your tweets made me laugh so much, and being like,
Yeah,
"I need to
yeah,
check this out." I remember showing the sound check one to my girlfriend and being like, "Look at this video," and she works at a venue, and we both cracked up, and she was like, "What do they sound like?" And I was like, "That is a good question. Let me
yeah.
let me go check this out."
Let's
So,
let's find out.
have you seen a lot of that in response to like how you do these videos and stuff?
Wait, wait, what do you mean?
Like a
Like,
general people being like, I discovered your band through Twitter, or like this tweet made me check out your
oh
music.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I like in sort of the immediate wake of me starting to do some videos more, because the whole thing is I just like originally started doing it because like, okay, we did a tour, we did the tour this past fall with Drug Church and Gouge Away, and on that tour, it's like whenever we go on tour, we're like we kind of keep a really really tight crew, and it's like pretty much every time we've gone on tour, it's just been the four of us. We don't bring like a merch person or a photographer or anything. And I mean, a lot of that just stems from personal comfort because like we all like to have our own. It's like it'll be like driver, shotgun seat, and then two rows. So it's like we are all spread out, and we're like very spoiled with having a good amount of space in the van. So like, we're like, if we can swing just doing this on our own, we'll just do that. And like, but I mean, we've had people come with us before, and but most of the times we just run like a really tight crew, and so but because of that, it's like we don't. When a band brings like a photographer or something, it's like they'll have photos to post every single day, and it's like we've been there before, and it's cool to have that content and everything, but you know, at a certain point, it's like when you're not bringing a photographer, you're not bringing someone, to do merch who could like snap a couple pictures when you're playing. It's like you still got to have something to post, and if people aren't tagging you, sometimes I'll just go and like steal a picture that someone took of us while we were playing and post it. But I mean, at a certain point, you're like, you got to stay consistent with being able to post stuff, especially while you're on tour, because it's like you don't want to just go on tour and then not, just fall off. And like, there've been people that, uh, post something and then they're like, I didn't know you guys were in town tonight. Sweet, I'll be there. So it's like it really helps sometimes. It makes a difference. But the whole reason I started doing the videos is because of exactly that. It's like, we were on this tour, we didn't bring a photographer or merch person, and I was like, I gotta post something. And I was like, I actually kind of, it took inspiration from a friend of mine. He doesn't even really know because I haven't talked to him about it, but he would post these really funny, his name's Travis, Travie B, and he would post these really funny videos, or he still does. He posts these really funny videos on his Instagram story, and he's like, um, his sort of thing is that he's like obsessed with Arby's, and he just loves Arby's, has this deep, passionate love for Arby's. And so he'll post these videos when he's going to Arby's, just like super hyped, and he's just like talking really loudly, just how pumped he is. And I love it. I love everything about it. And so I was seeing those. I'm like, damn, this is really funny. I am all about this. Like, I don't know. It was just something about him just being in his car talking to his phone camera, just being like, I'm at Arby's right now. I'm super pumped. Like, I thought it was just really funny. I was like, I kind of wanted to, it sort of inspired me to be like, I should do something sort of in the video sense. Cause I was like, so I thought that was like, just really funny and attention getting. And so I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do with that sort of format, I guess. And when we were on that tour, I was just making sort of daily update videos, being like, we're playing here, just the basic information. We're playing here, time doors are at, be there. And so just kind of like started there, just with like having stuff to post while we were on that tour. And then towards the end of it, like the second to last day of it was in Cleveland, and that was the one that I made the sound check video for. And so like, and that one was like the first one that really, I feel like, got like a lot of attention. And so, from there I was like, well, these videos went over well on this tour, and the sound check one especially went really well. So, I'll just sort of try and keep going with this and see if I can come up with any other ideas uh, in sort of this winter downtime for us. Because, like, we did that, and then we were just laying low for a bit. But I didn't want to, like, be like, all right, later 2018, I'm going to hibernate and not be on the internet at all until our record drops in the spring. It's like, I still want to be engaging online and stuff and, like, hype up our record and whatnot. But, where was I? Yeah, so like, but the other thing though with that is like I always kind of got to try and find a balance of like making content that is like pertaining to the band and the music, and isn't just like random stuff that, like, a random funny video that has nothing to do with the music. You know what I mean? It's like I always want. Well, you were saying one of your videos, in the video about my videos, you're saying it's like, I'm not trying to like sell anyone on anything, but it's like also, I don't want it to just be like unrelated, just like a meme video. It's like, it's like I still always try to have it be like loosely related to the band or the music, just to kind of like bring it back there. But like, it's not like I'm like, all right, buy our album right now. And really it's just been kind of about like finding a way to navigate that space of like being engaging and funny and not trying to seem like it's a commercial, but also still making something that's like actively promoting the band and getting people interested in checking it out and whatnot.
Yeah, and I feel like you really nailed that, especially with the clip for with the doctor kind of telling you that your album is so sick and it has to be delayed until the
Yeah.
spring. Like it sold me on the idea of the album without being like, buy this thing. And I feel like that, like you said, there is this weird, very small space that you have found a way to kind of navigate with your videos, where it's like there's this thing and you should be invested in it in some way, but I'm not going to just tell you to invest in it. You're like,
Yeah.
it's out there. Like I look forward to the day that you have something like a merch sale, because I think the idea of what you will come up with is that entertaining to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I miss a few days, I find myself scrolling to be like, has he posted something new and silly? Because I want to know what's going on in this
Right.
world.
Yeah, I've been kind of laying low a little bit, just with like, with this weather and everything, and just like, I don't know, it, above all else, with making these videos and everything and generating content, if you will, it's like, for me, it's just gotta, I can't force it. Can't. It's got to be fun. It's got to be. I don't want to be doing it like making something and being like, man, this is so stupid. Why am I doing this? It's like I gotta keep it real, as they say.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, I want to talk about the other thing you've been doing. And I mentioned this in the video, not knowing you're working on it, but you have kind of started like a physical fan club in the world where you just mail a
Yeah.
bunch of
Yeah.
people pins. So before we get to that, I think we have to address the baby carrot thing. So like, where does that come
Right.
from?
Well, so like originally the idea sort of started. It's like in our band uh, group chat. We would just every now and then kind of greet each other in various ways. It's like, it'd be like, "What's up, you cowards? Like, are we having practice today?" Just something like that, and then we would just like go off of just these sort of whatever greetings we would come up with. Eventually, I don't even know who really said it first, but baby carrots became became one of the greetings. We're like, "What's up, you baby carrots?" or "What's up, my baby carrots?" And so that just kind of, initially started as just like an inside joke, sort of like, um, greeting, if you will. And from there, just eventually one day I took it to Twitter and I was like, "What's up, my baby carrots?" Just posted that, and then some people really took a liking to it, and uh, from there, people would just kind of start tagging us, and if they saw something that was like had a carrot, or someone was posting anything that was like loosely uh, related to or like containing a carrot, people started tagging us, and so naturally it's like kind of play it up and play into it a bit, and we just kept rolling with that. But that's really just kind of where it started at, and so um, it became a thing, as they say, and from there, when we were on tour in the summer, there were some shows where people were like bringing carrots to our shows and giving to us, and that was cool. And like one of our shows in uh, Indianapolis, someone brought us like a two. I think it was like a two. No, it I think it was like it was either like a 2 or a 5 pound bag of carrots, and like the full size carrots. And I was like, oh hell yeah! Like the thing is, like we all actually like we're all vegetarian and vegan. We like carrots, you know what I mean? Like it's not like it's some joke. We're like, oh no, we actually don't like this. Like we are about that. So if someone brings us carrots, like we're stoked. But so we had this huge bag of adult carrots, and during our set, someone threw one on stage, and I like picked it up. This is like during a song, like I picked it up and took a bite out of it, and then just like whipped it into the crowd, and I actually hit someone in the face with it, and he is um this kid came to talk to me after it, like at our merch table and everything. He's like, "You hit me in the face with a carrot." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, just spur of the moment." I'm like, "My bad." And and it was like, "No, it's all good. It's all good. Like I thought it was sweet, but yeah, you hit me in the face with this carrot." And like since then, it's like we've become friends and talk quite a bit online and everything. And whenever we're in Indianapolis, like we we've established a friendship through this through me like chucking a carrot and hitting him in the face with it.
Amazing.
And so yeah, it really just kind of started there with this sort of inside internet joke, and kind of snowballed from there, where then this Facebook group the Facebook group was made. And the thing is, I didn't even make the Facebook group. It like popped up, and I saw it and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And I like posted, I was like, I saw it and I was like, "This is cool. I like this." That was it. And then I got added to the group and made an admin. I was like, "Oh, okay," And there wasn't like that many people in it to begin with, because it was just kind of like just general heart attack man memes, stuff like that. And it was, it's possibly the most niche thing on the internet. But so really, it's just the group started there and has since just gained a lot of traction since. Like a lot of people have joined, and there's pretty frequent activity and everything, people posting and whatnot. And yeah, from there, I was like, okay, well, this is kind of like, obviously we have like all of our social media platforms and whatnot, and we have the people that follow those, but this is kind of like the more like condensed, the people that are like super down with us, and people that really like, I don't know, the people that go beyond just liking us on our socials. It's like, this is like the private Facebook group that you're in. And so like um and so from there I was like, okay, well, I kind of want to, I've always thought it'd be cool to have some kind of like a mailing list, or like I don't know, growing up and when I first started going to shows and everything, it's like I was involved in a couple online forums, and there was, I grew up going to like punk and hardcore shows and stuff, and in Cleveland there's this hardcore forum, and a lot of the times it just descended into shit talking and nonsense and drama, but like even at that, having something like that growing up, going to these shows and being on this message board, it's like that kind of made me feel like the slightest bit more involved or invested in in music and all that, because I was like, okay, this is like below the surface of just listening to this music and going to shows whenever. It's like I was like meeting people and then like talking to these people on these forums and stuff, and we were all just general bullshit and just talking about whatever. But it's like that sort of community that transcended just being in the same physical space as these people every now and then. And for me, like thinking about that now, because that was like in high school for me. Thinking back on that now, even though there's some drama and shit talking and whatnot, it's like it was still, I think, a positive thing for me growing up in that it was a crazy, crazy scene. Like it was very, very wild. The shows were just absolute chaos. But like I think back fondly on those days and think it was still a very positive thing for me. And having that outlet of a message board was, it made it that much more special to me. So I was like, I want to like, with this, I was like, I feel like we have the potential for something special here, where it's like a lot of bands, have their fan base and everything, people that are like so passionate about the band and the music and just everything about it. They're just so engrossed in this band. And, I feel like a lot of bands most of the time wouldn't, they're like, oh, okay, cool, whatever, they don't really care. And it's not like a malicious, like, fuck you or anything like that. It's not like they're like, oh, we hate our fans, but it's like they just don't really go any further with it's like, I don't know. I really care. I really appreciate the fact that people care about us and that this type of group exists in the first place, and that people are so into us. Like I really appreciate that, because it's like, growing up, there were bands that I loved and was like super into and invested in and like knew everything about and was just, like a super fan of. And it's like, if like for us to have anything even remotely close to that and have like this sort of online community of people that are really into us and just an overall positive and involved space, I think that's amazing. It's like, I want to like go beyond just having that and kind of watching it. It's like I want to be engaging with it. When we go on tour, it's like like I said about us sort of running a tight ship. It's like I'll do merch for us, and I genuinely like doing that. I have my system. I like staying organized and interacting with people and just getting to know people more. It's like, I don't know. I'm really grateful for everything we have, and I like to. I really just like to get to know the people that like us, because it just makes me feel sort of just like less alone and sort of more involved in everything.
Well, that's beautiful, man. And I feel like,
Yeah.
based on what I've seen online, that community is growing. And I think maybe there's some people that are hopping on the bandwagon because they see the Baby Carrot Gang stuff that you sent out, and obviously people love free stuff and want to be involved. But more importantly, like between the videos and everything, like you have such a hands-on approach to your marketing. And it's funny because you and I had an interaction about who was doing your PR a while back, and I had this thought where I was
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
I'm the only person that needs, like, there are going to be writers that want to reach out to you, but you're so personable that you can just hit you up on Twitter and you'll be like, oh, here's my information. Like
Yeah.
it's fun to see that. And it's interesting how you've found a way to balance your time between, working on the band and doing this aspect of it. And it doesn't seem to ever get to you or weigh on you, and you are
Yeah, no,
consistent.
yeah, no, it's really I've just kind of made it like, I don't know, every day I'm thinking about stuff. It's I do this because it's like, I don't know, I am passionate about it, as like cliche as it may sound, when people say like, you don't work a day in your life if you're doing what you love and everything. It's like, I really do. It's just like I think about Heart Attack Man all the time. I'm thinking about things to do, ways to just sort of make things exciting for our fans and me personally. It's like I like to have fun with it, and it's like I don't. Not a day goes by I don't think about stuff for the band and everything, because it's just like it's what I'm passionate about, and it's like I've been playing music in bands like much longer than Heart Attack Man, but it's like that's music is the one thing that I've remained consistently passionate about and focused on. I played like my first show ever when I was 13. I'm 25 now, and since I played my first show at 13, it's like ever since then I've always been involved in at least one band consistently. Like there hasn't been a time since then where I haven't been involved with something musically. And it's like we've always been, writing or like recording something, or we had a show coming up. It's like we've always been like in motion. And for me now, it's like I'm always wanting to stay in motion with things, stay busy, like don't lose focus, and keep thinking of ideas and just making it, you know, making it making it just very involved. And it's like what I'm actually passionate about.
Well, that's wonderful to hear, man. And you
Yeah.
guys, I heard in the room in the rumor mill of things that you guys have a tour coming up this spring that you haven't announced yet. Do you know when that's gonna roll out?
Yeah. Wait, when we're announcing the tour?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think word on the street. No, not word on the street. Word from my email. The We're looking at an announcement next week. I've been told, um, and the tour will be like around when our album's coming out. So it's like it's timed out nicely to where it's like, okay, we want to put out the record at this time, and cool, we got this tour that we're sorting out, getting ready to announce. It's like I'm happy with how things are coming together in that aspect. But yeah, next week we're looking at the announcement for that.
So it seems like once we get to, I guess, March, you have basically 28 more days of kind of quiet tameness, and then everything gets real busy.
Wait, what was that?
I
Sorry.
said, so basically you have 28 more days or all of February, and then things get real crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, things are kind of not hectic in a bad way, but like I feel like every day I'm like working on something lately, just because we're doing this music video next weekend and sorting out everything with the artwork and singles and everything. It's like because at the label, it's like uh they got to submit stuff to streaming platforms. They got to submit like weeks in advance, and so getting all that sorted out now, so making sort of paving the way for like an easier rollout with the album. It's like we're pretty busy now, but I mean, yeah, that's only going to get like busier as the album actually comes out. But I mean, right now it's like it's we're still actively working on things, but it's like kind of all the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the album art. It's weird to hear a record but not know what the album art looks like, and
Oh yeah, yeah,
I'm anticipating it. I'm sure it'll be something
yeah.
clever.
I am very very excited about it, and I don't know, just I had like an initial idea that I was working on, that I had I felt really good about, and like I thought of this idea, but it was like I thought of it before we had recorded the album, and looking back on that now, I feel like I shouldn't have taken that approach where I was like sort of thinking of the artwork for an album before we actually recorded it. But so I had this like general idea, and then was rolling with that for a while, and then we went to actually record the album, and then after that, when we were recording, I had like this. I really, really truly don't know what brought this on, but like when we were recording, the day that we were recording Out for Blood, actually the second single, it's like the day that we were recording that, I felt like I had this weird like out of body experience, and I don't know what brought it on because I don't like do drugs or anything, but like I had this weird out of body experience, and just felt uh, completely, I don't know, like this feeling that I'd never felt before for like a couple hours that day, and kind of indescribable, but just like, I guess if anything, I just felt like really at peace with myself, and I was like, okay, I feel really good about what we're working on. But then very shortly after that experience, I had this dream that I was working on the album art. If you need any evidence as to how invested in all this I am, but I had this dream that I was like working on the album art, working on the idea that I had been working with, and in my dream, I finished the album art and then looked at it and just wasn't totally happy with it. So then I woke up from that and I was like, if I'm having dreams like where I'm kind of second guessing this idea, I feel like I should, maybe not completely scrap it, but at least consider maybe doing something else and kind of thinking of different ideas. So from there, it's like, it also helped to have the album recorded after the fact, and like thinking about having the album done and recorded and being able to listen to it. It was a lot easier for me to come up with like an album art idea that I felt much more felt like represented the record that we had more accurately, rather than thinking about having an album that, or like album art that represents what I think the album's going to sound like, or the idea of our album. It's like I think having the album and then working on the album art, um, it kind of made it a lot easier to come up with something that was like that I felt accurately portrayed and reflected like the general sentiment of the album itself.
That
So,
No, that makes sense to me, man. And it's good to hear your process on this, because I think a lot of people who discover your band, especially in other artists that I've talked to who know of your group now, I've talked to a surprising number that are like, I wish we could figure out how to do things like Heart Attack Man, and I'm like,
oh really?
yeah. So you should feel good about that.
I
I'm on this weird
yeah,
run
see,
of.
I kind of have like no idea where we stand. Like, I don't know. I feel like I don't, as kind of observant as I am about a lot of things, and as like I will focus on a lot of certain things. It's like one thing that I can never really kind of um, sort of accurately pinpoint is kind of like where we stand, or like anything like that. I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of like we just do our thing, and like don't I don't know. Like I don't hearing that, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think about like, okay, does this band know who we are or anything? It's like, I don't know. Hearing that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Like cause I mean, I'll like listen to uh new bands. Like, yeah, I'm always listening to new stuff, and it's like interesting if I ever have like come across someone that has known who we are. It's like it's interesting to me.
I get that. I think, well, like, and you've said this yourself. The thing is when people say things like that to me, I'm like, you can't really do what you do because they're not you. And the thing that makes what you're doing marketing wise and getting your band name out there, it's so clearly an original thought from your brain that you can't really duplicate that idea. It's not like a marketing plan in a way where it's like, well, you, like in the Super Bowl ads right now, the big thing is like get a celebrity to reprise their famous movie role and then sell beer or something like that.
Yeah.
That you can duplicate. What you do, it's like, no. If anyone else did it, it'd be like, that's he's doing the Heart Attack Man thing, and it's just different.
Yeah.
So they have to find their own
That's cool.
lane.
That's cool to hear. Yeah.
But last thing, and just to clear this up for people, I asked you this before we started, but I feel like we got to bring it all the way full circle, because every time I tweet about you guys, and even when I made the video, people can find a video on YouTube about how Heart Attack Man does their marketing for people listening at home. I got somebody that emailed me and said, "You're wrong. His name is Derek," and I was like, I don't think it is. So, do you know where that comes from?
What? Where? Like
The
the Derek
confusion.
versus
Yeah,
Eric thing?
Derek versus Eric.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people are confused because my name on Facebook is Derek Egan, but um, but I mean, my birth name is Eric Egan, but it's just kind of like I originally had started going by Derek online. I don't know. I think just out of this, like, I've always had my name on Facebook and stuff. I've always kind of had it a little bit off, to where it's like, I'll spell Eric incorrectly or something like that, like different from how it is on my birth certificate. It's like it. I've always kind of done that. I don't know why exactly, but I've just always kind of deliberately had it be like sort of misleading or misspelled or something. And from that, yeah, I mean, like my name on Facebook is Derek Egan. My name on Instagram is Derek Egan, but on Instagram it also says Eric Egan. But from the whole reason Derek Derek Egan started is because, like, it was just a friend of mine. I don't know what made him start doing it, but he just started calling me that one day, and then a couple other of my friends like took a liking to it. So it just, I don't know, it's just they just started calling me that one day, and I liked it, and then just kind of stuck from there in a way. But yeah, I mean, my name is Eric, but I do respond to Derek, and I don't know. There are plenty of people I meet at shows or something. Will be like, Derek. I'll be like, what's up? It's like I don't know if you. It's not like I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? My name's Derek. It's like my name is Derek in some places online. So I don't know. I still respond to that.
I always just assumed that Derek was the other guy in any video where you're talking to yourself. It's Eric and Derek hanging out
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's a little bit has kind of that's been kind of a development where, yeah. I mean, I feel like naturally I've kind of had it snowball into that a little bit. Maybe 2019 I'll develop Derek more as a character,
I love it, like a mini series.
heighten the
Yeah.
yeah, like heighten the dynamic between Eric and Derek, and yeah, no,
Who knows? Who
we'll see.
knows?
We'll see.
All right, man. Well, I really appreciated you taking this much time to talk to me today. I actually had
Yeah, of course.
I had Shortly from Triple Crown on the show last week, and so I guess I'm just in a Triple
Yeah,
Crown
yeah.
run right now.
I'd seen you post about that.
She's wonderful. A world different from
Yeah,
you guys for anyone that hasn't checked her out yet. But
yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about Fred and the whole Triple Crown family.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I want to let you get back to your day. I know you got a busy weekend ahead, but real quick, where can people find you guys online? Because I don't want to get your social handles wrong. I know it's different on Instagram and Twitter and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's I think one of our weaknesses that our social media platforms are like all kind of different. So on Instagram we're Heart Attack Mon, like MON. It's like Heart Attack Man was taken, so we're Heart Attack Mon on Instagram, and then on Twitter we're Heart Attack Maine, like Gucci Mane. But yeah, so Heart Attack MANE, and then on Facebook we're just, I don't know, we're just Heart Attack Man. But yeah, the two different ones on Instagram and Twitter.
And then what is the name of that Facebook group? I'm in that Facebook group too. I can't think of it right now, but it is fun and people that
Yeah,
like you should hop in there.
yeah. The Facebook group is called Heart Attack Man's Baby Carrot Posting.
There you go. And it's good.
Yeah,
It's real fun.
yeah. No, I'm really liking the direction it's going, and the mailing list has been super fun. It's been the most recent send out I did of pins and letters and stuff. Like that was a lot of fun. It was kind of overwhelming just because so many people had signed up at first. A lot more than I had anticipated, but I was really excited about that. It's like a good problem to have. But I'm just really, really stoked that so many people are excited about that and actually give a shit about wanting to receive mail from us. So that was a lot of fun to send all that out. And I'm getting, I've been kind of thinking of ideas for, um, another mail send out when the album comes out, like a little bit before or after or something. So really looking forward to that as well.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna let you get on with everything, but thank you so much for taking the time to talk to
Yeah,
me. hang out.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I believe that as of yet unannounced tour is wrapping through my area, so hopefully we'll get to hang out in May sometime. And
Yeah, that'd be great.
until then, we'll just keep tweeting at each other.
For sure.
All right, man.
Sounds good, man.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.